Hello, y'all. Welcome back to another Single 8 show. We are the Good Siblings. Your name is...
My name is Joseph Mills. Your name is...
The Single 8. And we are returning to form of me ranting and shoving food in my mouth at the same time for the second half of this story.
Yes, 1 week ago. So we decided to go all the way through your journey, and it ended up taking 2 episodes to do so. So we're on the second half. We talked about your coming out experiences, but now we're going to talk about your medical journey.
Yeah.
So let's begin with the beginning point, which is therapy.
So, I'm going to preface that so very hard right now. Getting therapy for gender dysphoria and therapy in general is hard. So,
and that really needs to be shared.
yeah.
If you listen to some of the hard conservative right, they make it sound like you can just walk into a freaking doctor's office and start taking testosterone, or you can go in there and just get surgery in 1 day. But it's not the freaking fact. No matter what the future president has said, a child does not go to school one gender and leave another. It's a long process. It's a long process.
So I'm going to preface this even more. I was in therapy for 2 years. 2 years even before they went, hey yo, this kid might have gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
2 years even before that happened.
You
And
have
that was
been on a long journey
a quick
of
conversation.
conversations.
After that, I sound like a 1920 radio announcer currently.
Yeah. But the reality of it all is, it's not even a short journey of conversations with the therapist.
Yeah.
It's not even a short journey of conversations with the counselor. It was a long journey of conversations before that they allowed you to get to this point that you began to take testosterone.
Yes. Yes. So, I was in about 2 years of regular therapy with 2 different people. With 2 different people.
A counselor and a therapist.
I'm not even at that part yet.
Okay.
I'm going through the whole process.
Okay, fair enough.
So I started therapy for anxiety, and I ended up going through 2 different therapists. My first couple therapists were the first one kind of barely talked about it. The second one, I had enough time to get to the extent that I felt comfortable talking about it. Because therapy is a trust exercise no matter what people say. And that was the conversation. Believe it or not, for this person, it was the bathroom that were the starters of that conversation, of the gender dysphoria conversation, of that going, hey, I don't feel comfortable going in to the girls' bathroom or the boys' bathroom in general. And the only one that felt comfortable was the one up in the office at the time.
Yeah,
and
that was a solo stall that you were graciously allowed to use.
Yeah.
Yes.
But never did, because I was always so worried about classes. Because anxiety.
And you were given permission by the principal to do this.
Yep.
And there was still an anxiety that set in you about not feeling comfortable to do that. There was a part of you that just could not be late for class.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to point this out again. I need to make sure for our transgender siblings, the parents of transgenders, gender friends, that every time that somebody bombards with this mental illness crap, that you went through therapy for 2 years. You went through original therapy with a therapist
For my mental illness.
that went into a conversation of gender dysphoria, that went into your transitioning journey.
Yes.
So we're talking about 2 years of conversations.
For the original ongoing mental illness, because I have anxiety disorder, I use the generalized one because that's the one that makes sense.
Yeah, but you keep saying mental illness, but we
Yeah.
need to fine tune that.
Yes.
Because that will get thrown back at us at thesingleHshow@gmail.com.
I'm not
When-
using it for gender
When
dysphoria,
you
though.
say mental illness, you're talking about your anxiety disorder.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I have been diagnosed by, I believe, three therapists by now, 4 by now, have all agreed that I have anxiety disorder.
Yes.
That also is the little bit of a panic disorder.
Yeah. But you were able to process through those conversations
Yes.
a journey that led onto another set of conversations that was about your gender dysphoria.
Yes.
So I want to point out again, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, because I'm not going to deal with the crap at thesingleHshow@gmail.com. We did not just say that gender dysphoria was a mental illness. What we were saying is that Single H went through a time dealing with anxiety disorder that was able to process through the fact that him dealing with his gender identity needed to be dealt with so that he could handle his anxiety.
Yes.
Yes.
In
okay.
fact-
Okay.
Gender dysphoria is not in the DSM-5 anymore, but you have to be diagnosed with it to have ability for hormones.
Okay. You just
That is a whole nother can of worms.
okay. You just used a phrase that we need everyone to kind of process.
Yeah.
Did you say DMS5?
The DMS-5 is a giant book full of what people consider to be disorders
Yes.
and physical health disorders. It's called the DSM-5.
Yes.
And it's that full of things that are considered mental illnesses. And gender dysphoria is not in it.
So this
even
is
though
a-
you have to be diagnosed with it. With it. Annoyed me.
So
Yeah.
as we're processing this DMS5 is a medical journal?
Yeah.
Yes. So okay. So let's move forward. You
Yeah.
did finally get into your conversations that led to diagnosis of certified gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
And here's another part of this. For all of you dear siblings that demand that the parents' rights crowd, if your child is a minor, you have to be a part of some of these meetings as well.
You're a part of all of these meetings, actually.
That's not true. There were
Yeah,
meetings that you had on your own.
All except the initial one.
Yeah.
You have a choice of a minor if you want them in there or not. Mine is, you guys already knew all of this stuff. I was just reiterating.
Yeah.
So, but your parents are always a part of the first half of questions,
Yes.
because it is mostly for them.
So, again, for the crowd, the parental rights crowd, you're part of this journey.
Yep.
You get asked these questions as well. So this literal propaganda that your child is going to be taken away from you and their journey is switched over, unless that child is emancipated from you from some way, shape, or form, you know what's going on. You are asked about this journey as well.
Yet, because it's also help them figure out if the child's in a safe enough home.
Yes.
Because that is a big part of it. If I wasn't in a safe enough home, it wouldn't happen.
Yes.
Because they would know off of questions from parents.
And they make that a part of the decision.
Yep.
And unfortunately, there's dear siblings that aren't allowed to start their transitioning journeys because the doctors equally feel that it's not safe for that child.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate too. Okay, so you got to that point.
So, it would basically, she kind of went, oh, okay, all of this is lining up. Here you go. Here's your diagnosis because it works so much.
Yeah.
Here you go. And it would like kind of, do you feel like you need a transition
Yeah.
to survive? Because it was also, because afterwards my anxiety is better,
Yes.
but it's still at the level that it is.
You still have anxiety symptoms, but they were able to take away other stressors that
Yes.
existed in your life because of the journey that you're on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it would basically kind of go, we kind of had the back and forth of like kind of, because I had her for a little bit, over 9 months at that point. She
Yeah.
was in different conversations with me
Yes.
about feeling weird about certain things. I think I, like, literally one time, I'm pretty sure I told her about part of the story that we have already told in about elementary school.
Yes.
And kind of went, okay, that all makes sense off of things that I've been hearing from you. Here's your diagnosis. This is the situation that's going to happen. Let's be ready. And then from there, you get another therapist.
Then you get another therapist
that is trained especially in gender dysphoria.
Yes. And you
And-
still meet with that therapist to today. I know that they have changed for different reasons, but
Yes.
the therapist that you meet with now is still for that purpose.
Yes.
So there's always a therapist that is connected to this. And
Yeah.
I really get exhausted by the mental illness crowd and the self-mutilation crowd that strongly misrepresents what's actually happening. Because you have been on this journey and there probably will never be surgery.
Yeah.
You will probably never need surgery because of your journey.
Yep.
So the self-mutilation garbage is not factual.
Yep.
There is not surgery in every case.
Some people don't need surgery. Some people, all they take are hormones. That's probably going to be me. For some people, there's probably certain cases that they kind of goes, I want surgery at. Because it is a spectrum of people.
Yeah.
And we need a reminder, collectively, fellow trans people, that it is a spectrum. That because someone doesn't medically transition doesn't make them any less trans.
Yes.
I need to say that because there's
And
medical aids in the trans community that don't believe that, so I need to say that.
Okay. There are people that exist in a transgender journey that sometimes don't even take medication to be a part of the transgender journey. It does not limit their identity in the least.
Yes.
Yes, that's very true. So as we wrestle with all of this, there's one part as you've gotten to your final therapist. I do want to point out one more thing. You went to a therapist for a while.
A therapist.
You went to a therapist, another therapist, and a counselor. But before you got your therapist that you have now,
Yep.
those therapists also met with a review board with the potential doctors that would take care of your care before that you were allowed to have your first meeting with a doctor. So there were two separate therapists, a counselor, and a review board that were all a part of your journey before you started taking testosterone.
Yes.
That's another debunking of this. Their parents don't know, parents' right, mutilation, that mental illness crap. Two therapists, a counselor, a doctor, review board, and a long-term therapist for this journey.
Yes. So, the second I reached my third therapist, we had around 3 months of questions to go through in the span of maybe 8 sessions.
Yes.
That's answering the questions. And then they came back to us, go, hey, this works. Congratulations. Here's a referral.
Yes.
So, we're now, I'm fast forwarding through the question part because there is many podcasts on the channel.
Yeah, we don't need to hash out the questions.
About it, so
Yeah.
let's go to one of those. So from there, we got a referral to what is the type of doctor? I am forgetting.
Honestly, I am sitting here trying to remember it right now too, and I can't remember the name of the doctor.
I will.
Oncologist.
Here's a referral to an oncologist. A couple, on January 2023, we had our first meeting, kind of going down, hey, here's all the things. Thanks for going to the labs and doing labs for us to see what we need to do, figure out the level of hormones we need to give you. And on that very day, it's when I get, and when I got
a Thursday.
That very third day, I got my first shot of TM.
Yes.
And that moment, I felt like a human for the first time.
Well, you knew that something was, you were finally on a journey.
Yeah.
And it was January of 2023, so it has officially been 2 years of testosterone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Officially, we are here at the 2-year mark.
Yeah.
So.
And I need to point out again.
Yep.
GAPD and I were in that room, and the doctor asked you first,
yeah.
Is this what you want? And then the doctor asked GAPD and I, are you okay with this as his parents? And it was all a resounding yes, and here we are.
Yes.
Yes.
And for more people that don't think people know, I was the one that did the shot that day.
You did your own shot that day.
And it felt like something aligned within me, and I suddenly felt like I could give a true, genuinely smile.
Yeah.
I could smile and that feel good.
Yeah.
And that the first month of tea was me essentially waiting for that day for me to do it.
Yeah, and many of you have heard this journey in these conversations, because when we began this, we started it being Single H's transitioning journal, and we would ask questions, and there were things that I noticed that when changes started with the testosterone, there were things that you noticed, and there was also things you didn't notice and I didn't notice that the other person did.
Yeah.
And I have watched the changes happen, and one that concerned me, you really did start to get a little aggressive after you started your testosterone. But that has definitely balanced out and settled over time. That has balanced out and settled.
Because I hate to tell you, shit, man, that is such a huge part of your puberty. That is the main part of your puberty. And I feel somewhat sorry. I feel sorry for everyone around you.
Yeah. Because that it's the teenage boy syndrome, the aggression and the drive and so forth. Yeah. But you have worked through that.
Yeah.
And we have seen over time, we've heard differences in your voice.
Yep.
Well, the differences in your visual appearance.
Yeah.
And now, as I look at you, I only see a masculine young man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so, I will say, if you're asexual, like me, it probably will not change you, because it didn't change me at all. I know a couple other asexuals on YouTube that it didn't.
We really need to process. You just changed streams like really
Sorry.
hard. So, you are talking about sexual desire now.
Yeah, because
So let's make sure the view listeners know what you're talking about. You have shifted over to sexual desire.
So sometimes testosterone is known for being able to change your sexuality.
Your sexual drive.
Yeah, your sexual drive.
Yeah, because Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie sell it on TV.
Yes.
Yes.
It's sometimes known for that. And it doesn't. It doesn't.
It hadn't for you.
Yes.
Let's process that out a little bit more sincerely. It did not change for you.
It didn't change for me, and your drive will probably stay the same.
Yes. And at the very least, that's what you have experienced on your personal journey.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I have literally thought about going on testosterone, because I have just lost a lot of physical motivation. Sex drive is diminished. I have thought about going on testosterone, but all medicines affect individuals differently.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the one thing I want you to talk about, and this is actually going to become a three-parter, I think.
Yes.
I want you to finish this up with, how has your self-image been affected by being on testosterone?
For me, it kind of mainly is I'm not looking at a weird person in the mirror anymore.
Yeah.
I'm finally seeing myself. How do I describe it? It's suddenly, what I'm going to say is, you kind of always see, I kind of see myself if I was born a cis boy.
You feel that way. You have found your natural self.
Yes.
You now feel like the person that you were born to be.
Yes.
Yes. There's just other propaganda that floats around the internet that X amount of people that have gone through the transgender journey actually experience more depression. And I have not found that in any transgender person that I know.
Yes.
I have not found that in any transgender person that I know. And people will throw back at me that I know. Fair enough. But I know quite a few transgender and friends, and none of them have signs of the depression. Yeah.
So it basically, I feel safe.
Yeah.
Now in my skin.
You feel comfortable in your skin. You feel safe in your skin.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful statement to make. An absolutely beautiful statement to make.
Yes.
Okay, so now we've gone through the emotional journey, we've gone through the medical journey. Now we're going to, in our next episode, we'll go through the legal journey.
Yes.
And then after next week's podcast, the Single H Show, we'll take a little bit more of a LGBTQIA plus emphasis, advocacy, and speaking out. It will become far less about your journey because you're full steam in your journey. So there's really no more transitioning going over than your transitioning.
Yes.
So we'll become a little bit more of a topic-based podcast, but after next week's podcast that we deal with the legalese of it all.
So I am going to do a reminder that I forgot last episode. We will have linked in the comments to help out stuff going on in LA, to help them rebuild, to help contain the fires. We will have those links until how long it takes.
It'll be for quite a while. There is a lot of rebuilding that needs to happen in Los Angeles, yes.
So we're going to have those in the comments, and I will make sure to do this reminder at the end of every podcast that if you have anything, any dollar, any cents, counts, because they will help. Anything.
So go ahead and articulate even though the sources will be in the link, go ahead and share the groups, the 3 groups that we are focused on.
The California Community Foundation, they are sending direct money to help right now. And the Critical Role Foundation is sending, if you want to send through a secondary source, you can send directly to the Critical Role Foundation that is sending their money currently to the California Community Foundation.
Yes.
And you can send it to
the United Methodist Committee on Relief, UMCOR, and because of the way they're structured, 100% of the gifts that go towards the California fires will go to the California fires.
Yeah, so anything counts. But if you have any money to spare, time of year,
any help helps.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That was the Single H Show for this week, friends.
We are the Good Siblings. Have a great week.